We do not need to use computer today because there are going to be two lectures. One is about the vowel contrast and the other is about consonant contrast. Okay, since as I have already emailed you, there's going to be a meeting in the second session, so I'm not going to take attendance. The resources for these two topics are also available in the mobile system, so you can always see them when you have time. Now, so we are going to the last three topics of our course. In these last three topics, we're going to talk about contrasting Vietnamese and English. We focus on sounds and then another topic on pragmatics. After that, there will be a wrap-up sessions and you need to submit the outline of your essay. There will be time for me to comment on what you need to train in your outline and then enjoy writing your essay. Okay? Now, in the previous sessions, you have already known that when we conduct a contrastive analysis work, we need to go through several steps. Now, the first important step is describe the two systems carefully, meticulously. Okay? So that's the first step. We describe. Let's say when we compare English and Vietnamese, we need to describe the TC area in English, the TC area, what it looks like in Vietnamese, and then we describe the theoretical framework we are going to use for analyzing. Alright? And then we start juxtapositions, which juxtapose means to put two things together and then see which go with which. And after that we discuss the similarities and the differences. We can go point by point, or we can go plot by plot. I mean, we can go for every discussion point, we can go English is like this, Vietnamese like this, and then the next point, English is like this, Vietnamese like this, and then the third point, English is like this, Vietnamese like this, or it can be the whole block of discussions about English, and then a whole block of discussions about Vietnamese. All right, those are the two layouts of analysis. Now, in our discussions about Vietnamese and English vowels and then consonants contrast, we will take the same approach. We're gonna look at the system in details from both English and Vietnamese, and then we talk about similarities and differences. Now, how many people here have already taken the course in phonetics and phonologies? Can you raise your hands? Okay. Good. So, how many of you have never done anything about phonetics and phonology? Raise your hand. Who have never done anything about phonetics and phonology? Good. So, when did you take that course? Was it in the first year or in the second year? Second year. So, it's still, new to you, right? And in this discussion, we're going to review what you have already learned about the vowel chart, the IPA chart for describing vowels and consonants. Now, if you have already taken the course that I have just mentioned, then this chart must ring a bell. right? The vowel chart, okay, describing on the major vowels in English, okay, according to, okay, how open, okay, our mouth cavity is, okay, and how, okay, frontal, okay, or backwards the sound should be. Okay, so there should be, okay, front, central, back. I mean front here, central somewhere here, and back somewhere here, and then, okay, open, okay, mid, and close. For E, is it closed or is it open? Now, it is E, closed. Okay, E, and R is probably open. Good. So now the vowel chart in English take the shape of trapezium. Okay. Okay. Very soon we'll look at the vowel chart of Vietnamese and you see the differences. Right. And okay, at each corner of the chart there is a sound. So, okay, this sound, E, okay, like tit, is very close and very frontal. Okay, like ooh, like school, for example, is excuse me, could you guys move up here? Yeah, that will be good for the camera work. Okay. Yeah, just stay at it. Yeah, let's see here. So, okay, the important thing is the shape of the vowel chart, the sounds at the corners of the chart, okay, and very soon we will look at the number of vowels. Now, okay, these are Vietnamese vowels and, okay, spelling or how we write the vowels in Vietnamese. If you have already looked at the phonetic and phonology textbook by Professor Đoàn Thiện Thuật, you see, okay, more detailed descriptions of the sounds. But basically, we see, okay, on the sounds that we are very familiar with, how they are transcribed. Okay, the transcription may be unfamiliar to you, but the sounds should be very familiar. Right? E, N, okay, with some nasal quality, and very, okay, glottal. U, O, okay. Yeah. Now we also have okay, what do we call diphthongs? Okay, yeah, right. Sounds like that. Now, so just by looking at these sounds, what conclusion can we reach? What conclusion can we make? Just by looking at these sounds. There are a lot of vowels that do not show up in the English APA, in the English vowel chart, right? There are a lot of vowels, okay, that do not exist in English. Right, this is the vowel chart of Vietnamese, okay, and this vowel chart is quite widely accepted in, okay, the linguistic community of Vietnam. So you see the shape is different from that of English. It takes the, okay, triangle shape, and, okay, these, okay, new vowels, not really new vowels, but these vowels, okay, that we do not, okay, see in English, okay, are represented somewhere, okay, in the mid positions, and, okay, the half open positions of the mouth cavity. Alright, so we have done the first step, describing all the sounds, how they show up on the vowel chart. Okay, so we use a model, charting the sounds on the vowel chart. Okay. Now, when we look more closely at the kinds of vowels and their sound qualities, these are some of the important points that can be brought up in discussion. Now, we have acute sound, gray sound, for your reference. Gray vowels mean chậm, and acute vowel mean bổng. The pitch of the sound is raised like it's acute, and is gray. So we have acute vowels, gray vowels in Vietnamese. We have front, back vowels, just like in English, right? And we also have rounded and unrounded vowel. Like O, is rounded, while A is unrounded. It's not like open, close, and mixed. Now, there are also vowels that lie at the border between gray vowels and acute vowels, as you see on the screen. So we have Now, these are vowels that are not quite acute and not quite gray. We categorize them as light gray. And according to Professor Đoàn Thuận, there are 13 vowels in all in Vietnamese, including 10 long vowels and 3 short vowels. Now, let's see what it looks like in English. Now, the single vowels in English are a little bit fewer, with 6 short vowels, as you see on the screen, and 5 long vowels. These vowels should be very familiar to you, because I believe that the textbook that you use for phonetics and phonology was by Peter Roach, right? The one with green cover. Alright, great. So, long vowels are represented with colons, 2 dots. Now, vowels in English can also be categorized into acute and gray. Although this kind of categorization is not important. Why? Because English is a stress-based language, and because it's stress-based, it's not really important for the syllables to be acute or to be gray. But in tonal languages like Vietnamese, Chinese, when you use a different tone, the meaning change, right? Ma, 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 ma. They are all different, and that's why being acute or being gray really counts. Now, but on this chart, you can see how the acute and the grave vowels in English are distributed on the vowel tract. And this triangle represents the sounds in Vietnamese will show up later. Now, in both languages, we have vowels that do not change the timbre. Timbre means the sound quality. How do I make it? I mean, it never changes like it will not be assimilated in the syllable. When you say hiền, it's not like e, it's not like a, hiền, right? So those sounds have changed the timbre. Wow. In Vietnamese we call it âm sắc. It doesn't change the sound quality. So these sounds do not change the sound quality, like pot, caught, hot, shot. Wherever these sounds are distributed, they do not change the quality of the sound. They do not change the timbre. Right, so there are sounds that do not change the timbre in both English and Vietnamese. And there are sounds that change the sound quality of the timbre in the two languages. As you see here, ye, ear, I, oi. Now, so when we make these sounds together, you see, it is particularly helpful if you have a microphone connected to the computer and you use a speech analyzer. When you say the sounds, there will be a spectrogram, showing you like like this, e like this, and ow, like see a new spectrogram that quite different with or. Alright, so we describe the vowels that change the timbre in both English and in Vietnamese. Now, so far we have described the single vowels. Alright, there are also the double vowels or the diphthongs that we call. In Vietnamese, most of the time diphthongs are centering. I mean in the center of the syllable. Now you can look at these cases of ye, and bull. They are distributed at the center of the syllable, while in English, most of the time, diphthong can be either at the centering position or closing at the final position, right? So we can say day, say, poor, go, for example. Those are all cases in which diphthongs appear at the end of the syllable. Time. You may be a little bit confused by looking at this sound, lúa. Now why do we see this diphthong as being distributed at the center, not at the end? Because okay, Vietnamese, okay, is an isolating language. Does that ring a bell to you now? Okay, it's an isolating language. So each sound is a syllable, and each sound is closed by itself. So when you say lúa there, okay, actually there is a closed schwa sound, okay, after word. Okay. It's not open like in English. Okay. When you say pool, okay, still open and waiting to be connected to the next syllable. In Vietnamese, they're closed lúa and then close. Okay. That's actually a closing sound at the end. So it's interesting, isn't it? Okay, interesting because this is our mother tongue, okay, and there are so many things we do not know about our mother tongue. If you master these systems of describing Vietnamese sounds, okay, you can come to a lot of countries to teach languages. Vietnamese, okay, there is a huge demand, okay, for teaching Vietnamese in the United States, in Australia, in France, where big communities of Vietnamese live, and now the second generation start to forget Vietnamese. They need to learn to preserve the identity. Alright, now this vowel chart describes the directions in pronunciations of diphthongs in English, and you see they are quite complicated. They can come in all sorts of directions. So it's very difficult for Vietnamese to be native-like in pronunciation, because after puberty, the muscles of our jaws, our tongues have already become fixed, and it's harder for us to make these kinds of movements, okay, from here, from here, gone, out, toward. So it's harder, okay, for you to train your muscles, and that's why it's easier for you to imitate the sound, to make these sound when you are smaller. Okay, so that's one of the reasons why, okay, when people have gone past the puberty, it's harder for them to produce sounds like native speaker, because the muscles are different. Right, it's very interesting. Why in Vietnamese we have we have a pre-vocalic vowel, and in English we do not have this sound. If you read the material in Vietnamese, this is called âm đệm. Okay, âm đệm. Okay. Now look at this case, right? Why? Okay. Now it's not it's not like ooh, it's not like ooh, right? Quack. Okay. And ooh, okay, are these two different sounds. Okay. And similarly, in Vietnamese we have quỷ, right? Noa, hoa. So there is a pre-vocalic, ooh. So quack, sometimes is curve a little bit before making a sound. This sound is interesting. It doesn't exist in English. Vietnamese do not have diphthongs. We have some diphthongs, but we don't have three vowels going together like this. Okay, now, in the final step, we put the two vowel tracks, onto each other, and you can see that, E in Vietnamese is different with E's in English. O in Vietnamese is different with O in English, even though they are represented by the same letter. You see, okay, our vowel chart, okay, is somehow, okay, less frontal and less backward in the scale. So when you make a sound like school, okay, actually you have to close, okay, draw the back of your, okay, tongue very close toward, okay, your mouth cavity, the end of your mouth cavity, right? Why? Okay, in Vietnamese when you say what? For example, tu hú tú nhà, for example, tu hú. See, u, okay, is not, okay, as, you know, backward like tu, okay, of school, okay, of pool. You see, okay, u in English, see, and some more backward. Right, and okay, we can make that conclusion based on, okay, the model of two vowel tracks. This page is taken, okay, from a textbook of, okay, Professor Tutt. By comparing the numbers of vowels, you see that in all, English have more vowels, and it's mostly because they have more diphthongs and triphthongs. Okay, Vietnamese have fewer diphthongs and no triphthongs. See that? And instead, we have more, okay, isolating vowels. This is typical of isolating languages. So you see, okay, English is defined as being sympathetic, not only, okay, in terms of this, okay, the semantics, not because sounds are combined together to produce word, but, okay, even phonemes are also, okay, combined together to make sounds. So sounds are also sympathetic, and sounds are, in Vietnamese, are more isolating. All right. When we try to contrast the, okay, volume, okay, how loud the sound is, and, okay, the timbre, okay, whether, okay, it is fixed or it is changed in the sound qualities, okay, we have this chart, okay. This is for how loud the sounds are, and this is for whether it changes the sound quality or not. Alright, so I have just finished talking about, okay, some of the key points relating to contrasting vowels between English and Vietnamese. It's a good thing that all of you have already taken the course in phonetics and phonology, and ring the bells. Basically, okay, we go through, okay, the steps that we have described in our procedures of contrastive analysis, describing the two vowel system carefully, okay, basing on the vowel chart. Okay, that's our framework for describing or for categorizing sounds, and then we start, okay, looking at similarities and differences. Okay, now in the next part, okay, of your analysis, you can start discussing the sounds that will be difficult for Vietnamese learner of English, for example, and you can make suggestions about, okay, how, okay, teacher can overcome the problem. Okay, how language learner can, okay, make it a little bit easier working with those sounds. And you have any other questions and comments before we, okay, look at the consonant contrast? Okay? So no question? Now, before talking about consonant contrast, we need to review some of the terminologies. And we start with the articulators, the speech organs that help us to make sounds. So, in order for sounds to be made, air will go from the lung up through the trachea, right? And then it will be vibrated here if they are voiced. Okay? How do you tell whether sounds are voiced or voiceless? Now, that's a very simple quiz. For example, now, is voiced or voiceless? Is it voiced or voiceless? Why? Why is it voiced? Okay, yeah, because when you say you see vibrations of the vocal cords here. Okay, you can put your hand on this part, the vocal cord. And when you say now, yes, see, there is no vibration here, so it's voiceless. So, it is voiceless. Okay. It's voiceless. Okay. But there are sounds like ma, na, na. Right? They are voiced. So sounds go through the trachea. Oh, there is another tip called esophagus. Okay. What is it used for? Esophagus. Well, when you eat, the food will come, and then probably our body will be designed not for food to come into the lung, right? So when the food comes here, this flap will close this part, so that when you swallow, this part is closed and this part is open. When you speak, this part is closed and this part is open. And if there is something wrong with this, you will be in big trouble. You will So the air will go through the trachea, vibrate sometimes, depending on the sound, at the vocal cords, and then go up through the pharynx, and then there will be a combination of the tongue play, the tongue, the play of the tongue, and this is the back of the tongue, the front of the tongue, right? And there will be also a combination of the uvula. What we call this in Vietnamese, you can see it with a mirror. Lưỡi gà, alright? There's a piece of tiny rectangle at the end of the mouth, which you see with a mirror, and then the soft palate, hard palate, lip teeth. And nasal cavity also play a role in making sound. So you see, it's a very complicated machine. And that's why humans, language is unique in that the sounds that you hear is a very sophisticated combinations of lots of different parts. So it's amazing how we learn to make the sounds. It looks very easy when you observe baby they produce the sound, but actually it's a lot of hard work for them making the first few sounds like boo, boo. Man, it's very hard for the baby to make those sounds. Now, this IPA chart is familiar to you, okay? It's also taken from Peter Roach. So, consonants in English can be categorized by place of articulation and manner of articulations. Okay, place of articulation, whether by lips like m, ba, right? It can be by lip and teeth coming together like va, right? It can be a alveolar, ridge, da, the tongue touching the alveolar ridge, da, za, right? Or it can be a little bit closer to the palatal alveolar ridge, like da. You see, the teeth on the player tongue come closer. And lastly, ka, and the uvula is used. For manner of articulation, we can have plosive sounds, fricative sounds, affricative, nasal sounds, lateral sounds. Now these are all the English consonants. Okay, how the sounds and the spelling match. Right. So we now start describing the consonant system in Vietnamese. We also have consonants that do not exist in English, like ch, or châu chẳng, chúc chắc. But now we tend to assimilate that with ch, chúc chắc, sâu sắc. This sound is quite difficult, right? How do you make it sound? Ráo riết with vibrational tongue. Ráo, but we can say ráo riết. Right. So these are consonants in Vietnamese. So we describe that with a chart that looks similar to English, but you see this chart is different in that it is more complicated in manner of articulations, and there are less categories for place of articulation. Right. So with fricatives and affricatives we can have voiced, voice mix, plosive, non, explosive. Now this tract is also taken from the textbook by Professor Phượng. If you look at our mobile system, there are some parts of the books uploaded, and you can read for yourself. Now in Vietnamese, we have quite a few consonants that can be at the end of the sounds. As you can see, the examples on the screen. Pa, ta, ka, dịch, sắc, lạnh. Now, when we start looking at the differences, these are the things that we can observe. Generally speaking, there are more consonants in Vietnamese. We have in total 30 consonants with 8 distributed at the end and 22 distributed at the beginning of the sounds. Now, the 8 ending consonant in Vietnamese are, well, the last one is missing, but it should be cut. Right. We have, quite interesting, we have consonants that are half consonants, half vowels, and we call those cases semi-vowels. Like E or U. Now, with these words in Vietnamese, like I told you earlier in our discussions about consonants, the sounds are always closed in isolating languages. So when say lá, má, tìm lá, má, lấy lá, lên lầu, for example. So all of those sounds that are closed, even though there is no consonant visible at the end of the sounds. Now, they are closed thanks to what we call a zero ending consonant. Because theoretically speaking, without a consonant at the end, it is still open. But when you say má, it is actually closed. Now, with these words, you can see by looking at the spelling, these are vowels, not consonants. But actually, they are also closed because there is a change in the temperament. And these sounds, we can analyze using the spectrogram. You will see that they are half vowels, half consonants. They have some characteristics of the vowel and some characteristics of the consonants. Mai, tai, tao, thao. Okay. Now, so this is interesting because it doesn't exist in English. Right. And when you categorize these 8 final consonants of Vietnamese that we have just discussed onto the IPA chart, they will be categorized like that. In terms of manner of articulations, place of articulations. Now, so coming to our discussion, these are the important points because Vietnamese is isolating. Syllables contrast with each other. Syllables are isolated from each other, not synthesizing it by contrast differently. And firstly, we have 0 consonant. Secondly, we have some of the vowels when they are distributed at the end of the syllables. They change the sound quality, the timbre, in order to become consonants. Like the case of tai, mai, tao, thao. Okay. So it can be semi-consonant or it can be consonants. Right. So at this point, you can relate your understanding about the typology and discuss a little bit further in how being isolating and being synthetic influence the way sounds are combined. Now, in Vietnamese we have consonant either at the beginning or at the end, right? In English we have consonant that may appear at the medial, at the center of the sound. We also have the case of fortes or lenses, whether the sounds are strong or weak, depending on their distributions. And this case does not exist in Vietnamese, and that's why it's quite hard for Vietnamese to get these sounds right. Now, with long vowels, the final consonants tend to be vowelized. They tend to be assimilated by the vowels, and they become weak. Right? So you can hardly hear the like heard. It is weaker. It's not like in sound like beat. Up. Right. Rise. Hers. Why with the case of short vowels, these consonants become stronger. So if you look at the case of hers and hers, you see that in this case the final sound is stronger. So there is an influence of the vowels onto the tempo, the sound qualities of the neighboring consonant. Right? Now, the consonant in Vietnamese are centering around the tongue positions, and they tend to be categorized by the tongue positions. While in English, apart from the tongue, there are other articulators induced to describe. So it can be the teeth, so they are dental sound. It can be the alveolar ridge. It can be the palatal alveolar ridge, deep closer in the mouth cavity. All right, and to be sure, there are sounds in English that do not exist in Vietnamese, like w, z, and yellow, world, for example, well. So, beginner of English tend to have difficulty with these sounds. J, and we are all familiar with the difficulty of these sounds. Alright, so that's it for contrasting consonants. Now, these are the key points. Before looking at the consonant contrast, we review our key concepts about the articulators that help us to produce sounds. We then describe the consonant system of the two languages using the IPA chart. The IPA chart. And after describing all the sounds using the IPA chart, you can start discussing, going to the individual cases of similarity and differences, like what we have done. And then to be sure, okay, after the analysis, will be the part when you can discuss about the kinds of difficulties that people may have in language learning. You can also extend it to design curriculum when teaching sounds. Now, before I stop it, show you what is available in the learning system. Do you have any questions? How many people here write essays about sounds? Okay, good. So this is going to be useful for you. You should read the materials by the Professor Van Timport. It could be really useful when you deal with Vietnamese particularly. Next time we're going to talk about pragmatics. If you work with idioms, with symbolic meanings of words, that discussion is going to be useful. Can you? There are not many written material for these two topics, just simple essays, and analysis. So hopefully with these lectures, you can review what you have learned about phonetics and phonology. If you do not have any other question, then we can stop here. Next time we come back here again, discussing about pragmatic contrasting analysis between English and Vietnamese. There will be more reading materials for you to work with. Okay, so let's call it a day now.
Teachers, is it recording because I cannot see any cameras?
It's still recording. It's fine.